Beneath the ordinary world lies a veil, and behind it, the voices of the lost still whisper.
We are your guides into the shadows, where true crime meets the paranormal.
From chilling crimes to haunted histories, we uncover the stories that refuse to rest.
This is Veil of Echoes.
I am not hidden. People pass me every day without slowing down. On a school night in May, 3 boys entered me before dark. Their bicycles came with them. Their voices did too. Loud, unmeasured, certain they would leave again. I did not close around them. I stayed the same. But the ground was pressed by weight it was never meant to carry. Branches were bent, past their giving point, and left that way. Water that should have been still was not. It was disturbed, then disturbed again, and continued moving after nothing else did. Something small was left behind, then something else. Things meant to be noticed by someone. By the time flashlights arrived, the night had already learned what the town had not. I do not name what happens here, but I hold the marks of it. What occurred in this place did not end within moments of itself, because everything that would be questioned later, every argument, every theory, began here.
Episode 32, The West Memphis Three, Part 1. Hey everyone, welcome back to Veil of Echoes.
I'm Lindsay.
I'm Zach.
And I'm Bria. Every week we step carefully into stories that refuse to stay quiet. Stories shaped by unanswered questions, fractured timelines, and the lasting impact of decisions made under pressure.
Tonight, we begin a multi-part series on the case known as the West Memphis Three.
In the first part, we're focusing on the beginning. Who the boys were, the night they disappeared, and the place where everything that followed would begin.
Later episodes will examine the investigation, the arrests, the trials, and the questions that have lingered for decades.
Before we continue, a brief content warning. This episode discusses the disappearance and deaths of children.
We approach this case with care, restraint, and deep respect for the victims and for those who love them.
Listeners' discretion is advised.
If you appreciate the care and research that goes into each episode, please consider following the show on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you're listening.
Leaving a rating or review helps our small indie show reach new listeners and allows these stories to be told with the time and respect they deserve.
Now we begin with who these 3 boys were before everything else.
Before this became a case, before it became evidence, and before it became argument, there were 3 boys from West Memphis, Arkansas. They went to Weaver Elementary School. They rode their bikes through their neighborhood. They knew the woods the way kids do, as somewhere to pass through, not something to be afraid of. They were Cub Scouts, they wore uniforms, and they earned badges. They were children in every ordinary way.
Stevie Branch, 8, was known as a kind, loving kid. He loved Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. He loved being around people. When he was little, he earned the nickname Frog Legs, because when he swam, he kicked like a frog trying to stay afloat. It was the kind of nickname that comes from affection and stays because of love. Stevie was remembered for how easily he connected with the people around him.
Christopher Byers, 8, was energetic, restless, always moving. He loved skateboarding, riding bikes, anything that let him go fast. People called him the Worm, a nickname that fit a kid who never seemed to sit still. Christopher was curious and impulsive, the kind of child who threw himself into the world without hesitation.
Michael Moore, 8, was remembered for his good behavior and his helpfulness in class. Teachers described him as curious and engaged, a kid who liked to do things right and paid attention to the world around him. He wasn't withdrawn, he wasn't passive. Among his friends, Michael often took the lead. He talked about the future, about becoming a police officer or an explorer someday. Michael was thoughtful, confident, and full of questions. A child who imagined himself out in this world, discovering it.
These details matter, not because they explain what happened, but because they remind us what was lost. 3 boys with nicknames, dreams, school routines, 3 children who expected to go home.
On May 5th, 1993, there was nothing unusual about the afternoon. School let out. Backpacks were dropped. Bikes were taken back outside. It was a school night. Dinner was expected. Homework still waited. This wasn't a day marked by arguments or plans gone wrong. It was routine.
The boys rode their bikes together through familiar streets. They talked the way kids do, about nothing important and everything at once. They had done this before. Their parents had watched them do it countless times. There was no reason to think this time would be any different.
When the boys didn't come home right away, it didn't feel like danger. It felt like delay. Daylight was still there. The evening was still young. No one knew. They were already running out of time.
There is something uniquely painful about these hours, not because of what happened, but because of what hadn't happened yet. No one was afraid, no one was searching, no one was saying goodbye. They were just children moving through an ordinary evening.
The last normal hours are always the hardest to revisit, because they look so much like every other day, and because no one knew they were the last. The search began close to home, and widened quickly.
The boys were last seen together in the early evening hours. There was no single moment when alarm bells went off. No sudden panic. No immediate sense that something terrible had happened. At first it felt like delay. Kids lost track of time. They take longer routes home. They stop to talk. In a neighborhood where children rode freely, being late didn't immediately mean being gone.
As daylight faded, parents began looking the way parents do, walking nearby streets, checking familiar spots, and calling names into the evening air. Porch lights came on, doors opened and closed. Neighbors were asked if they had seen 3 boys on bikes. This wasn't an organized search. It was instinctive and personal. The kind of searching that assumes the answer is close, just out of sight.
For the parents, those early hours were filled with waiting. Standing at windows, listening for footsteps, hoping to hear bikes returning down the street. At first, there was room for reassurance. They're nearby, they'll be back. They just lost track of time. But as minutes passed, that reassurance began to slip. Parents checked with one another. Had anyone seen them? Had they gone somewhere together? The silence grew heavier with every unanswered question.
There's a moment's parents recognize when being late stops feeling ordinary. That night, that moment arrived quietly. Not with shouting, not with sirens, just with the realization that 3 children had not come home.
As concern grew, one of the boys' parents contacted the West Memphis Police Department at around 7 p.m. to report them missing. By then, the boys had been gone for several hours. There was no confirmed crime, only the understanding that something was wrong. Officers began canvassing the area, asking questions, and checking places children were known to go. At that point, the goal was simple: find the boys.
One of those places was a wooded area, known locally as Robin Hood Hills. It wasn't remote. It sat close to residential neighborhoods. People passed it every day without giving it much thought. But it was dense, uneven, and difficult to search thoroughly in the dark. The area was entered the night, but only briefly, under conditions that made a full search impossible.
What often gets overlooked is how unstructured those early searches were. Different people moving separately, different paths taken, different areas checked at different times. There is no perimeter yet, no controlled entry points. The focus was on speed, not on preserving a scene no one yet knew existed. Those early hours mattered, and at the time, no one could have known how much.
As the night wore on, search efforts continued. But visibility dropped, fatigue set in. Eventually, the search was paused. The boys were not found that night. They were still missing when the morning came.
By the time daylight returned, hours had passed. Ground had been walked, paths crossed. The area disturbed in ways that couldn't be undone. Whatever answers may have existed in those earliest moments were now harder to separate from everything that followed.
In the days that followed, the focus of this case would begin to shift away from the woods and towards the people closest to the boys. So when a search begins informally like this, at what point do you think it should shift from finding someone quickly to start preserving a potential crime scene? Goes back to John Bonet for some reason. But I feel like this is different because it's outside in a public.
Yeah,
that part right there. The part that's outside.
But then it's public and you're not going to think.
And they didn't, once again, they didn't think it was a crime scene yet, so.
Right.
Yeah.
They didn't know what to preserve at that moment, so them themselves were crossing paths they didn't even know existed, so.
Whereas with John Bonet's family, the dad took them, hey, here's my daughter's body.
I know.
By the way, here it is.
Exactly.
Oh, okay, thanks.
Yeah. But just with that one, there was people going in and out.
Especially since they said it was woods that children were often in, because it wasn't out there in the middle of nowhere. It was close to these neighborhoods. It was just dense.
Yeah, and kids always played in there.
Yeah, so, it was always being paths crossed. And
that was just their assumption that they were in there at the time. Because I think they were last seen around that area by neighbors.
Well, yeah, because their bikes were somewhere around there. Or something like that.
It's always the bikes, man.
Mm-hmm. What'd they say? Those things are like Cadillacs to these kids.
Yeah. Mr. Hopper.
Yeah. Yeah, they were the bikes were found in a wooded area of Robin Hood Hills, close to where their bodies were discovered.
Just like Will's bike.
See,
Yes, I know. This
well,
kind of
that one
reminds
kid's
me.
named what? Chris Byers.
Yeah, one of the kids named Chris Byers. So
Oh, it is.
it's just that just reminds me of it. I feel so bad for these kids
Well, yeah, because that's terrible. That's
and how they found them.
I don't even know. Like, it's all terribly miserable, but this is horrific. This is some fucking morbid shit. Like,
It was personal, I think.
it seems like
Yeah.
it was personal.
That's my
'cause
opinion. Obviously.
we'll get deeper into it, but
Yeah.
the way they were found is just disgusting.
Yep. But yeah.
No, that's exactly what that reminded me of, is when Will went missing.
They found the bike not too far away from where he was found. And the replacement body was found in the quarry water, or part of the stream or the river.
Wills.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
And that's weird.
So there's quite a few connections from the looks of, well, just the way Eddie seems. He looked like he'd be Damien or a version of him.
Eddie Munson and Damien Eccles.
Yeah.
Well, I thought I read that somewhere.
Not even just Damien, just like those three kind of mashed and combined, because that one guy said he's the one that introduced him to Metallica and Ozzy, and then he was listening to
right
other
here,
stuff. But
it does say Eddie Munson from Stranger Things is heavily inspired by Damien Eccles, one of the West Memphis Three, as both were outsider figures wrongly accused of murder to their dark appearance and interests, such as metal music, D&D, with the show's creators drawing from the story in the Paradise Lost documentary of Eccles' case.
the trailer.
Eddie Munson, a metalhead and dungeon master, and Hawkins accused of murders linked to a cult mirroring Eccles' situation. Damien Eccles, a real-life figure, part of the West Memphis Three, wrongly convicted in '94 for a triple homicide whose case highlighted how being an outcast made him an easy suspect, a theme central to Eddie's storyline.
Yeah, because they believe Eddie killed Chrissy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Chrissy, wake up. I don't like this.
Yeah.
Christy, wake up.
Yeah, I liked season 4 the most, but I think I did.
I think season 3 has been my all-time favorite.
I need to go back again.
Because season 3
I'm
really captures the 80s.
trying to think.
It's when they're at Starcourt Mall.
Ah, Billy.
Billy!
Yes. Okay, when he got it. Yep. It's coming back to me. But
I wish
anyway.
they wouldn't have killed Billy off.
I know, I was hoping they would bring them back somehow, but oh well.
It would have been
Anyways,
nice.
That would have been. The search would resume with daylight, and this time it would end very differently.
The morning of May 6th, 1993, the search resumed with daylight. What had been shadows the night before now had edges. Paths could be followed. Distances could be judged. Robin Hood Hills was searched again, this time more slowly, with clearer visibility, and with the understanding that something here might have been missed.
Robin Hood Hills wasn't a single clearing. It was a stretch of wooded land cut through by narrow footpaths, thick brush, and a shallow drainage ditch running through the center. Water pooled unevenly in parts of it, murky, stagnant, and difficult to see into. This wasn't a place that revealed anything easily.
The discovery didn't begin with the boys. It began with something smaller, something that didn't belong.
During the daylight search, a juvenile probation officer named Steve Jones was walking near the drainage ditch. There, partially submerged in the water, he noticed a tennis shoe without shoelaces. It wasn't where a shoe was supposed to be.
The shoe was later identified as belonging to one of the missing boys. Up until that moment, there had still been hope the children might be found alive. The discovery of the shoe changed the nature of the search. What had been a rescue effort became something else.
After the shoe was found, attention focused on the drainage ditch. Searchers slowed down. They moved closer to the water. This was no longer about covering ground. It was about examining one place very carefully.
According to search accounts, the first of the boys to be located was Michael Moore. Nearby, a Cub Scout cap was noticed in the area, another sign that items belonging to the boys were here. Michael was not immediately visible from above the water.
West Memphis detective Brian Ridge entered the drainage ditch to continue the search. At one point, he got down on all fours and began feeling along the bottom with his hands. Visibility was poor. The water was murky. He was searching by touch.
As Detective Ridge felt along the bottom, he came into contact with sticks beneath the water. Wrapped around them were items of clothing. The clothing was submerged, held beneath the surface, rather than floating freely. This confirmed the scene extended beyond what could be seen from above.
Continuing downstream in the ditch, searchers then located Stevie Branch. He was found face down in the water. Like Michael Moore, he had been bound using shoelaces.
The last of the boys to be found was Christopher Byers. He was discovered in the same general area, but slightly apart from the others. By this point, it was clear. This was not a single isolated find, but a connected scene.
All three boys were found, naked, bound, with visible trauma and bruising. These observations were noted at the scene and would later become part of the forensic and medical analysis. What those injuries meant and when they occurred would be debated for years.
One detail stood out almost immediately. Despite the severity of the injuries, there was no visible blood on the banks of the ditch, none on the surrounding brush, none pulled in the water. This absence raised an important question.
If the boys had been killed in that exact location, there should have been evidence of it there. The lack of blood suggested the ditch may have not been where the murders occurred, but where the bodies were later placed. This possibility complicated the case from the very beginning.
Among the findings noted at the scene was a severe injury to one of the boys' scrotum that investigators described as intentional and deeply concerning. That interpretation would heavily influence how the crime was classified and how the investigation moved forward.
From this moment forward, the case stopped being about missing children. It became a homicide investigation, and with that shift came pressure. Pressure to explain, pressure to interpret, pressure to act.
Word spread quickly through West Memphis. Parents were notified, families gathered. The woods people passed every day were no longer just woods. They were now a place marked by loss.
The order in which the boys were found, the way the scene unfolded, and what was and wasn't present would shape every decision that followed. This wasn't just the beginning of an investigation. It was the moment the direction of the case was set.
When a crime scene raises as many questions through what's missing as through what's found, How confident do you think investigators can be in the conclusion they have drawn early on?
Well, I mean, you can't. Oh, this is the type that's just like has all kinds of questions.
Yeah, I mean, this is one of those cases where
Like
a question leads to another question that leads to another question.
I mean,
yeah.
especially, they started investigating at night, so I mean, as investigations go, you start how you can start, you start where you can start, so
Yeah.
if you only have so much visible and so much available, then of course things are going to shift and change as you investigate. Like, that's part of the issue. It's like,
Yeah.
it's the whole part. Like, that's the job.
Yeah.
Well, that, and I just feel like this was personal. Like I feel like someone.
I mean, you're always
My
going to draw
opinion.
conclusions.
With how they were strangled and stuff.
Like it took time.
Yeah, it.
It was 3 of them too.
Yeah, 3 of. So then that tells me like, how can all 3 of them? Like, I don't know that.
And who knows? I
There
mean,
could have been 2 people.
could have been 2 people. Could have been 3 people.
Yeah.
That's a theory, it's not just a single person.
Yeah.
Especially since there's 3 8-year-olds. It wasn't like they're infants, they weren't toddlers. I mean,
Yeah.
no, they're not the strongest, but 3 8-year-olds can still put up a tough fight.
Yeah.
And it's like, so that leads you back to a theory that whoever it was knew this person,
Yeah.
And they
or
were,
whoever it was they knew.
Yes. And they were like, I don't know. Poor things were bound.
Yeah, it kind of just makes me think that there was a second person involved, since there was 3 little kids.
Yes, 8-year-olds.
It says they were found, not the night that they were...
They were found the next day.
Okay, so at least they were found the next day. It sucks they weren't found immediately, but
Well, yeah, but
it
what can you
wasn't
do when
weeks,
they
it
were called
wasn't
at 7
years.
p.m. and
Yeah.
you can't
exactly.
see?
I mean, it's around the time it's getting... I mean, it's summertime, so you still got a little bit of light, but 7 p.m.'s cutting it close. I mean, you don't have long. 8:30, it starts getting dark in some places earlier. Like here, some days we get about 8:30 at the latest.
Well, that, and they found their clothes tied around sticks stuck in the water.
Deliberately tied around and stuck in the water, so like it was meant to be hidden. So
Yeah.
that's the kind of person you want to super kick with a steel toe boot on, break the whole jaw.
You gotta add some spikes on them steel toes. Because you gotta let them spikes go into the jawbone and then shatter it as it comes out.
It's a 8-year-old boy.
Yes, I know.
Society doesn't care half the time.
And it says it was one of them, so I mean, that there kind of narrows down who did it for me.
Well, I know with Stevie and Michael Moore, they both died of multiple injuries with drowning, indicating they were alive when they entered the water. So yeah, they weren't.
Well,
It's
that
depressing. Yeah, it's awful. But like that, and then like, but then I read there, like, where did this bludgeoning if it wasn't in?
Because there's nothing indicating that it happened on the shore anywhere near where their bodies
unless
were
like
found.
if running water would run the blood off.
yeah.
But they didn't find any, I guess.
Yeah, because it seems like even if it was on their clothes and he immediately put it on the water, then it would have been stained on someone's
Yeah.
clothes, because it's not like he can collect
Yeah.
all of them at one time. It would have took him a minute to collect all the clothes.
Yeah, this is one of those things. Like, why?
Is this still unsolved, or?
Yes. I mean, they have a idea
Yeah, they do.
who did it, but
Me too.
It was the grandma.
That'd be wild.
Hey, there is this lady. Her name's like Killer Grammy or something like that. Can't remember. Yeah. There's a lady out there that she was elderly. She would kill her victims and eat them.
Okay, you're talking real life.
okay, real life.
I was thinking about
Real life. I thought you were. What was her name?
I can't remember, but she was like, I want to say she was like Romanian or something like that. Like she
that
was
sounds
from
familiar. Like, I'm not saying murder people, but like you're going too far. You're pushing it for no reason. Like,
Yes. I don't know.
Yeah, don't go out and murder anybody.
yeah,
Exactly. But yeah, there's just things about this whole thing, like, just like it leaves you with questions. Well, this happened. Why? And I don't know, like you said, question leads into a question.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It really does.
yeah,
Like,
it's a loop.
Yeah.
it just keeps going and going and going. It's like,
Yep. And it just sucks because, yeah, it's unsolved. I mean, there's people of interest, but no one's, other than the 3 who were convicted, who, but
That was more just a case closer.
yeah.
yep.
Yeah. So,
And it didn't really close it. It's still open.
yep.
In part 2, we'll examine how investigators interpreted the scene and how quickly interpretation became certainty.
What we've talked about today is not theory. It's not speculation. It's what was known before conclusions were drawn, before names were spoken, and before narratives formed. 3 boys were found, and from the very beginning, the scene itself raised questions.
As you continue with this case, we invite you to sit with this part of the story. Not to decide, not to take sides, but to notice what stands out to you. Because this case doesn't just hinge on what's found, but on how it was understood. And if our work resonates with you, leaving a rating or a written review helps more listeners find these stories, and we truly appreciate it.
And before we continue this story, this Friday we're going to pause in a different place, out at sea. It's the story of the Orang Medan, a ship found drifting, a distress call received in fragments, a crew discovered exactly where they fell. No sign of what caused it, no clear explanation, and no agreement on what should have been possible. By the time help arrived, whatever happened was already finished. Some places don't tell you what went wrong. They just show you what's left. Until then, keep your ears open.
And the veil closed.